want to get back to the EQ of past generations.
Sure.
You know?
Yeah.
Ooh, that's a tough one. That's really
And you
like,
must be very careful. You must be very careful when you handle that one. You can't just speak.
Ooh, so I work remotely.
You work remotely.
I work remotely. So I have a home office upstairs, and my office overlooks like this yard area,
Sure,
complex,
over there. Yeah.
And every day at 3:30, latest 3:45, but every day at 3:30, before 4, there is a family that lives in the complex, young family. The guy is probably my age or maybe a year difference. And he plays with his sons every day out there while I'm sitting there preparing for my 4 p.m. meeting. And it's usually, because they're usually there at 3:30, I'm preparing for my daily 4 p.m. meeting at that time.
So that's how you sort of keep,
you know, the experiences that they are having out there, you know, is what you're talking about with your mom, and the difference with your mom feeling a sense of pride for your accomplishments versus some stranger online. There is value in the experiences that they are having out there that the modern world has belittled in some way. You know, there is value in having those human connections, of building those experiences from a young age for the kids and their parents. I'm 31. I don't have that.
Yeah.
And I have to recognize that there is then something that I'm missing. You know, part of the reason there's something that I'm missing. Okay. We have tricked ourselves that we are so much different in the 21st century than past generations. You know, like there is so many. I read a lot, as I said, and there are so many studies that show that couples that start off the day with a conversation and a hug are much better off in terms of the emotional intelligence in the long term than people that do not have that conversation and hug early in the day.
Action.
You know? And so in this 21st century world that we live in, where we are not forced to settle down as early as past generations, think about the gap those missed conversations and hugs are creating in us. Why are we so lonely? We are not getting those hugs at church. Why are we so lonely? We are not getting those hugs at the grocery store because we're ordering everything online. Why are we so lonely? Because we are waiting longer to have those kids. Why are we so lonely? Because we have different standards of what it means to be ready to have kids. When back in the day, bro, like our grandparents were making 10 rand a month and having 12 kids. Yeah. You know? It's,
again, I don't think we should glorify that. I don't think we should. But yeah.
I don't think we should. Man, I'm not saying we should glorify it, but I'm saying there was value in it, you know? Because a child does not know they're poor until they're much older in life.
And then they realize, hey man, Andy, this is...
And so the upbringing that I had with my dad and mom, my siblings, is a far better life than the life that I live now, even though I might be economically better off, you know, because by the time my dad was my age, he was already married. He had a few kids. He had his own company. He was living towards something. Yeah, you know. And boy, do I question myself whenever I have an accolade that I do not have someone to share it with. Yeah, you know, like why am I doing all of this?
Yeah, what's the...
You know, okay, cool. I'm able to do so much for my mom, for my family. Yeah. But then at some point, my mom won't be on this planet anymore. And then what? Yeah. You know, so there's value in having family. Sure. You know, there's value in having family, and I understand being pensive about glorifying the family structures that existed when people had less options. But we should not throw away the baby with the bathwater. You know, there was really value in that. The divorce rates that we have in today's society are much higher than the past. Even though in the past the homes were very unequal.
Exactly, I was about to say.
And the equality that has been introduced in the 21st century has not really served us very well.
Tread carefully.
I know, but then let me make the case. Let me make the case. Bro, I'm 31.
Yeah.
I can confidently say that I would not be able to attract the type of woman that I've been able to attract if I worked at Cadbury making minimum wage. You know? And so we cannot discount the evolutionary dictates that exist that say at some point a woman, however wealthy she might be, however independent she might be, will have to go through 9 months of incubation of a child.
Sure.
And because of that evolutionary fact, there's a cultural implication that says that the man has to be a provider.
Okay.
You know, a man has to be a provider. And in a world where you are unable to provide to the standard to which a woman is accustomed to, then there's a hierarchy. That, okay, booty, ish, you know? Kodwa kuzoba nzima, my brother, you know?
Yeah.
And to be respected by your woman is a very important part of a relationship. And so I understand the need to date within a certain, what do they call it, hypergamous structure.
Ooh, hypergamous, brother. No, you lost me there. Hypergamous.
Hypergamy is the social phenomenon where you find that women tend to date above.
Oh, okay, sure.
You know?
Yeah.
And my main point in all of this is the ways and customs of the past served us for much longer than the ways of today have been around. We have a track record of how things work out with past traditions. I'm not saying they're perfect, but we have a track record
Of how they
work out.
Yeah.
In the 21st century, we have a inclination to do away with them without really taking into account the consequences
of doing
away with them. You know, and that's the main thing I'm saying here. So yeah, I do have a cautionary tale that says, be careful what you wish for. You know, like honestly, just be careful what you wish for when it comes to the type of life you want, because you might think the guy or the girl with the body or the qualification of this is what you want, but then what you really need might be that person you thought was not good enough for you. You know, what you really need as a human being, the type of nurture that you need might not come in the package that you think you want, you know. So your destiny and your happiness might be with a person that might not have the degree that you want, might be with a person that might not have the physique that you want, but we are humans, you know, and humans have an emotional need to it. Everything must not just make sense on paper. It must be, you know,
it's gotta.
Yeah, it must be fluid.
Sure.
It must be fluid. That's all I'm saying. That's all I'm saying.
Okay, fair. I think you're not gonna get cancelled.